I don't know what to do, guys. I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's happened again. Again. It's happened again. I feel like EA should have a graveyard right outside of their main building, right outside their main office, in the front, actually. I don't even want on the side, I don't want in the back. In the front of their main office, I want a graveyard. And each headstone is carved the logo of the studio they shut down. My name's Fanta, and you're watching FANTAVISION. Today, we are talking about Visceral Games and EA. Mostly EA, because I'm going to do an in memoriam for Visceral Games, because I loved Visceral Games, guys. I loved them. And before EA took them and just kind of raped them as a company, because that's what they did. That's what they do with all their companies. I mean, they've got a huge track record of it. If you've ever seen the Gamers YouTube channel, where it's like the V, they do like histories of games. They did like Command and Conquer. They're talking about how it was getting better, it was getting greater, and then EA bought it and just savaged it. And that's the same thing that they did with Visceral. That's the same exact thing they did. So Dead Space came out. Amazing game. So much fun. It's a survival horror that feels kind of like Resident Evil, but it's got that space sci-fi feel. There's really not too many space-themed horror games that include weapons. I have to have that little asterisk because of all these stupid horror games that are coming out now that you have no weapon. And I was so happy to get this new, fresh thing. And I love horror games. I don't like horror movies, but I love horror games because I'm in the game. I'm the character. I'm not making stupid decisions. In this game, you're actually a smart person and you're using your engineering skills and you're using engineering type tools as weapons, and you have to cut off the limbs of the aliens, and they're like alien zombie hybrid human things. So it's kind of like The Thing, where it's like you still see that there were people at one time, but they're all distorted and mangled. So you get the horror element with the noises and the vents. You get the horror element because you're out in space, you're all alone, you're claustrophobic in all these environments, and you get this disturbed, horrible enemies, and they're just, oh man, and you have to just annihilate them. You have to hit them into bits. And then even when you think they're dead, they're not quite dead. And you sit there and you stomp their fucking bodies until they're just bits are all over the floor. And I loved the game. Second one came out, just as good as the first one. I played the second one first, so I like the second one a little bit better. I also like the storyline of the second one a little bit better. And then EA did what they do, and they ruined the franchise by making it a third-person shooter, basically. Instead of, they got rid of most of the horror elements. It's mostly a shooter at this point. They added microtransactions, and they killed it. And they did the online pass thing. So there's quite a few things that I talked about in past rants that are kind of applicable to this one, because they put the online pass in it, they put microtransactions in it, they put some of the worst things that the gaming industry has ever thought of and put it into Dead Space 3. And there was this controversy before the game came out because of all that shit, and when it came out. So sales weren't that great for Dead Space 3. And for some reason, EA thought a horror game, now, of course a lot of horror games have done pretty well nowadays, Five Nights at Freddy's and all that shit, but back then, horror games weren't the best-selling games. They're not Call of Duty, and that was the problem. They weren't selling bucket loads of games. I'm sure it was making tons of money, but nothing is enough for EA. Nothing is enough for AAA game industry. And it's sad. These publishers just expect too much, and they don't like original ideas, which is another reason why Visceral is dead. Besides the fact that they were forced to make Battlefield Hardline, which was debatably the worst Battlefield game ever created, but I mean, most of the people are going to agree it is the worst Battlefield game ever created. Cops and robbers, what? So, They're forced to do something completely out of their element, a first-person shooter, which Dead Space is nothing like, a non-horror game, okay, shitty story. It's just mostly multiplayer-focused games, what they were given to do, and that's not that studio's strength. If they'd played to their strengths, they could have made another masterpiece like Dead Space 1 or Dead Space 2. Unfortunately, it sounds like they were in the middle of making their newest masterpiece, which was a linear, story-based Star Wars action-adventure game. And with Visceral behind the helm of a probably third-person game, they're in their element again. They knew what they were doing. But you know what? That wasn't enough for EA, because they're like, I don't think it'll be that easy to put microtransactions in a single-player, third-person adventure game. Like, sure, people have fun, people enjoy the game, but they won't want to come back and waste more money on stupid in-game items that they need to progress the story. And WB is making money hand over fist. Maybe we should do that. Who's working on that again? Is it Visceral? They made Battlefield Hardline. Dead Space 3. They've had their chances. 2 strikes and they're out. They're out. And you know what? I'm guessing the people at Visceral, I'm guessing it wasn't just immediate. I'm guessing that they went up to the people at Visceral and went, we've been playing some Shadow of War here, and we like this loot box system. And Visceral was like, no, we don't. Well, this is what we're doing. If we do the loot box system, it ruins the whole game that we're creating. It'll ruin the story. It'll ruin the tension, because they are masters at tension. If you haven't played the Dead Space series, stop watching this video right now. Go play it. Go play that game. And if you want to continue the video, go ahead and continue the video. Play it afterwards, but put that to the top of your backlog. If you haven't played that game, go out and buy it. It's amazing. But masters of tension. You can't have tension in a microtransaction universe. You really can't, because you can just buy your way through anything. Oh God, there's this enemy again. It's really pissing me off. Just gonna, there we go. Oh crap, there's another one. Oh, God, these monsters are a little bit too scary. I'm gonna buy some more power armor. Maybe I'm gonna buy, what should I buy? I'm gonna buy 5 more loot boxes. Fuck it, just take my wallet. And that's games these days. That's what's happened. And it's unfortunate, because tension and drama and worrying about your character dying and caring about the characters in the game, that's what those games are about. That's what action adventure games are about. And now they're ruining them. You can just buy your way through anything. It doesn't matter if you get better at the game. It doesn't matter how much you play it, how much you figure out each little detail in it, each strategy. Oh, I lost at this fight, so I'm going to come at it a different way. You don't do that anymore. Especially when they throw in the online element, because it doesn't matter how much skill you put in. If you didn't empty your wallet, you're not going to beat them. You're not going to beat them. You're not. And that's what I've heard about Shadow of War as well. Same thing. You just keep having to buy the fucking boxes so you can survive online. And that's the only way you can do it. Doesn't matter how long you grind, how much time you put in, because those boxes that you can't buy with in-game currency, they're always going to be better. And you know what? I feel like that's what's going to happen in this new Star Wars game. I'm going to bet right now, in the future, when this game has more details about it, I'm going to take a huge chunk of this video, condense it, and be like, I told you so. I knew it was going to happen. In fact, I even said that EA was just around the corner of killing another company, because I even talked about it when I was talking about Battlefront. I just talked about so much of this. And it's happening again. Behind me, I've had companies that, rest in peace, that we've lost over the years to EA. It's sad. I was, for Fanta's Fright Fest, I was going to do a Dead Space, kind of like history of Dead Space, and then I was going to do a discussion of possibilities for Dead Space 4. Because I was hoping that EA might give them another chance after this next Star Wars game to create another part to the series, or make another horror game. And because they're great horror games. And I'm picky with my horror games. And it's sad to see another developer gone. I would like to say that these employees of Visceral's just going to regroup outside of EA and make their own shit. I want to say that. But think about all of the companies that have been wiped off the face of the planet by EA, and how many of those reformed to create something special. And I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Drop a comment if I'm wrong. Please. Please. I want to support those studios. I want to give them a pat on the back. Like, I understand. EA is the devil. And you survived it. You got out. They tore you down. You built yourselves back up. Proud of you. I want to support those people. So if I'm wrong, please let me know. Anyway, I'm going to do an in memoriam. I'm going to talk about Dead Space still. I'm not going to stop that video from coming out. It'll have to be different now. I can't have a discussion of Dead Space 4 because it's just not going to happen. And man, that was the Star Wars game I was really excited about. Was Visceral's Star Wars game. Next is BioWare, by the way. If we're going to do predictions of dead companies, they're following the same format. Mass Effect 1 through 3. 3 started falling off a little bit. Andromeda shit the bed. So that's all I'm going to say. BioWare is next. I don't know how long they'll have. I know they're making a Star Wars game right now. I think so. Could be wrong. But I was pretty sure they're making a Star Wars game. But yeah, alright. Cutting this off. Been going too long. What time are we at here? 12 minutes. Yeah. Rest in peace, Visceral. I hope all you guys find new jobs. Or reform. Like I said, reform as a company. Make something great. Because we've seen your past games and you've made some great stuff. Seriously, if any of you guys are watching for some reason this small little YouTube channel, you did good. Don't feel bad. Find your way and make something new. We're begging you. Do it for us, the gamers, because EA doesn't give a shit about us, and nor do any of these other huge publishing companies. Thanks for watching, everyone. As always, if you guys liked the video, share it with your friends so they know who Visceral was and all that kind of stuff. Give them a little history lesson of their own. And, of course, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day. See ya. Fucking EA.